All you Trekkies and TV addicts, don't mean to this, don't mean to bring static. All you Klingons in the fucking house, grab your backstreet friend and get loud. Blowing doors off engines.
Dennis Johnson radio program. Evening, everybody. I'm currently sitting across the way from me as Mr. Zach Leonard, old friend. We're going to get into all kinds of shit. Tomorrow is the Super Bowl. Zach, how you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
Doing well. So let's get right into it. They just came out with the Associated Press Offensive Defensive Coach of the Year. Jason Garrett, Associated Press's Head Coach of the Year. We briefly spoke about it. What did you think about that?
So, yeah, I mean, Jason Garrett, I mean, he did turn that team around. For me, though, I thought it should have gone to, so if we take Bill Belichick out of it, because he's in it he's the best coach every year. I mean, you can't be this long but if you take him out of it.
So, just before you go on, my point there is that just because he's good every year doesn't mean that you should take him out. That's my point is, he's still... Just because he's there every year, it doesn't mean that he can't be in the conversation.
No, and I bet he was in the conversation. I haven't looked at the stats to see, who came in second, who came in third. But, he's...
That's a good point. I didn't either. He
hasn't actually had to restructure a team or build the team up in a long time. I mean, he has rebuilt the defense and rebuilt the offense. But, for me, Jason Garrett is a solid pick. But I think I would have gone more with Jack Del Rio because the Raiders have just been a dumpster fire forever.
The Riverboat Gambler. Actually, that's a great point. I didn't even think about that. The Oakland turnaround this season was amazing. And I was going to say, it's hard to believe or hear the name Jack Del Rio and Coach of the Year. Yeah. But it goes against my argument of just because he's been poorly, not a great coach in the past, doesn't mean he can't be in the conversation going forward if he did a great job. That being said, 2 losses on the year for the Patriots. 4 games without Tom Brady. 3 wins, 3-1 without Tom Brady was pretty impressive. I think what the Patriots have done minus Jamie Collins, who in the beginning of the season I thought was going to be Defensive Player of the Year. And, we had high expectations for the defense. Turns out...
crazy, I thought... When they traded him, I thought that was just nuts.
That's my point is, who would have ever thought that the Patriots are being called the number 1 defense in the league going into the Super Bowl. Who would have thought that would have occurred after the loss of Jamie Collins?
No, I wouldn't have thought. Well, after hearing all the stuff, and dude, you living around here, you get to start to drink the Kool-Aid about in Bill we trust.
Right.
And he's made these moves before that have worked out. Like when they traded Richard Seymour, I remember thinking that's crazy.
Revis.
Right.
Welker.
Right. But the Richard Seymour deal ended up in them getting Nate Soldier, and eventually in that same draft they got Gronk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the Richard Seymour is one that he actually had a few years left. But outside of that, Revis was just about done. Welker, just about done. I mean, Jamie Collins obviously has a lot of good football left in him. But they sent him to the perennial losers that is Cleveland. He's no threat there.
No.
I think...
Cleveland just gave him a bunch of money. They just extended his contract.
The reason why I believe, and I have a hard time speaking objectively about this, but I believe that Bill was the Coach of the Year was because he was able to coach a less physically athletic, talented team to be the best team in the league. And my point is the defense. Bill has he has, do your job. It's cliche, but he has a job for each player on the defense. And Jamie Collins was freelancing. And one player freelancing throws the whole defense off. He was probably a pain in the ass off the field as well. People have a hard time seeing the end of the line there, but it actually was obvious looking back that was the right move. I mean, do I think the Patriots would have been worse with him? No.
No, of course not. I don't think so either, but... Maybe. I mean, if he was that big of a
deterrent
to them actually doing, functioning as a unit, the way that they're supposed to.
And then take the defense out of it, who would have thought that the Patriots would have won, all these games so handedly without Gronkowski? We are getting used to the fact that Gronkowski just doesn't play full seasons, but he is such a game changer that they have. Have you missed him? I haven't missed. There have been times in the past.
I haven't noticed that he's been gone.
Right. I haven't even really missed him.
I didn't even think about. I remember in 2011 when they were heading into that second Super Bowl against the Giants, it was like this is going to be tough without this guy.
Right.
And it was. They ended up losing. Right now,
I think the addition of Martellus Bennett made all the difference in the world. I don't know if we would be having the same conversation. And I think a lot of what they do with their tight ends in the blocking.
they have a better running game right now, too.
And, Floyd with the blocking. But it's just like, I think Bennett does a lot of things that you might not even see at first glance.
Right.
I think he's also playing a little hurt, but he had 2 weeks to get over it. So, also, thinking about it, Garrett also took that rookie quarterback and rookie running back to pretty deep in the playoffs. I think they're a better team than Atlanta. I don't get a whole lot of exposure to the NFC, so I don't know.
I don't think they shouldn't have lost that game. I mean, they did, but that game against Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know what happened.
I mean, he's amazing.
That throw, I know.
It's incredible, but and obviously Atlanta just stopped him and just made him look foolish because they didn't have any wide receivers at all.
And maybe the lights were bright. I don't know. At the end of the day, there are 4 rookies on the starting defense for the Falcons that has never happened in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So you have 4 starting rookies on D. And Belichick and Brady against rookies. I don't want to get into the game too much, but I don't see. And I also have heard from other pundits that the Cowboys, NFC people saying the Cowboys were better than the Falcons, and I think Green Bay was definitely better than the Falcons.
You think Green Bay was better? I thought Green Bay was a terrible team. I didn't think Green Bay deserved to be there at all.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is, you're probably right. My point is, I'm just thoroughly underwhelmed with the Falcons' defense. And if you look in the past, it's Super Bowl winning teams.
Yeah, it's been
have
defense.
The defense. Yeah.
Just look at last year.
In line with defense, Khalil Mack, AP Defensive Player of the Year. We were talking briefly about that as well. I didn't get a whole lot of eyes on Khalil Mack. I didn't see a lot of him.
Dude, the only reason that I even pay attention to him because I do independent fantasy, like defensive players.
Okay.
So I followed him. I mean, he definitely makes a difference.
A lot of tackles.
Games. A lot of tackles, a lot of sacks. Overall, voting for a defensive player, I can see why, with this being like his 3rd year, him just making an impact on that defense and that whole team really turning around.
And that might be the nod to Oakland.
Yeah.
The Del Rio. I mean, because how about when Carr went down?
That was terrible.
It was unbelievable.
That was the one team I was afraid of.
Yeah, and I don't know. They have a hard time having any fear of Oakland, but I laughed. I literally laughed out loud when I saw Carr go down because when he went down, I knew you could see the Super Bowl. The path just opened up for the Patriots. It just got so goddamn easy, and just it's such in such Raider fashion for their QB to go down at the end.
You know what I wonder is, are the Patriots just that good? Where there's because the idea of the NFL is to have parallel, where there's not the same teams all the time.
Parity,
yeah. So, are the Patriots just that good where they're always there, and are these teams just that bad and poorly coached?
I think that this season, and we wouldn't be alone saying this, I believe that the competition wasn't the most competitive season. There wasn't a lot of great teams. No. We've seen in the past, but I will say that what the Patriots do that other teams can't seem to figure out is that the Patriots can look like a different team week in and week out. They can be a running offense one week, all air it out the next. They can focus on one player one week, and they do different things based on the opponent. And because they can play all different types of football, makes them so effective. That's what I believe anyway. They're the most well-coached team by far.
But then let me ask you this though, on that point, because there's plenty of talent in the league. There's plenty of talented players out there. Is it just the coaching is just so bad? Is Belichick just on another level of coaching above?
I think part of it is the respect factor. So these players respect Belichick so much. But like I was saying before, there are definitely a far more talented, athletically gifted players in the league that don't play for the Patriots. But I think what happens is those players end up getting, they get sort of the green light to do whatever.
Yeah.
And if they don't play along with
Like
the
what
rest of the
Jamie Collins
defense,
did.
right,
Yeah.
that it actually is worse for the team. They might make huge plays here or there, but in the long run, they have to work together as a cohesive unit.
Right. It doesn't matter if you get 2 sacks during a drive if
Right.
they end up scoring a touchdown.
Right. Which, speaking of sacks, I heard the rumor floated out on Radio Row. Garoppolo for J.J. Watt and a first-round pick. So take that for whatever it's worth. That was from... he used to be on ESPN. He sent a dick pic. He said,
Kyle
he's
Hill?
in Houston now. I can't remember the fucking guy's name, but I don't know if that's happening. Will say that I have
Who's giving the first round pick?
the Texans.
So the Texans are going to give J.J. Watt and a first round pick?
Sean Salisbury. And Sean Salisbury is a Houston radio guy, so he's saying this from Houston. I think this is very hard to believe.
Is this his opinion, or is this...
This is opinion. That's obviously no...
Is this something he's like, that's what I would do?
I didn't get the impression that there was any credence to it, but I think he said that basically that's what he would do. At the end of the day, I'm not in the camp of keep Garoppolo. I say get what we can for him. I don't see Tom slowing down at all.
So to say that though, Tom, what's wild is that Brett Favre was literally like the exact same age as Brady when he left Green Bay. And you remember looking at Favre, and Favre looked like an old fucking fossil, dude.
Well, so one of Favre's greatest seasons was that one of those Viking seasons.
Right,
at the end.
that's what I'm saying. But then, but just like looking at like the comparison of how they looked, you know what I mean? Like
It's night and day.
Brady looks still like a young kid.
So we're getting into unprecedented territory, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible.
I'm not saying it is, but Favre just... He had those Viking seasons, then he had a good season with the Jets.
And then he fell off.
And then it just died.
Peyton, same thing. So with Peyton, it was the neck. Favre, he would, beers, Vicodin, he was nuts. Tom eats avocado ice cream.
That's true.
He monitors every ounce of liquid that goes in his body. He doesn't look old. I agree. I mean, I'm trying to just bring that up, but I'm not arguing with you. So what do you think that there's a ceiling?
I'm with you. I think they should. I think I would just ride him until
I would ride it out
until he's.
What if he does it until he's 45? I mean, at the end of the day, I think he's earned the right to stick it out till the end. I mean, at this point, I even thought the last Super Bowl, when after that fucking ball fell into Curse's lap, and then Butler picked it off, and I swear I said to God, I don't need another one. Like I was like, I don't care if they, I was so fucking relieved, and so if they get one more, like Tom, I don't care if they don't win again for 20 years. Like what we've seen in the last 17 years is unlike anything that's ever happened in football. It's unbelievable. I mean, I will say I called it. I still maintain they're going to go 0-1, 0-3, 0-4, 15, 17, 18. They're going to win this year and next year.
You think?
And things look good for them to do that if they keep it up. I don't think Garoppolo, everyone loves Jimmy G. He's the second coming of fucking
we only
Joe
really
Montana.
saw him play for 6 quarters.
So that injury that he walked out of, Tom has gotten a number of times and played through. So he's a pussy.
Right. Well, I think he wanted to play, but they wouldn't let him, right?
I don't know. I just, I don't know. I don't get the impression that he's a ball. Like, one thing that people don't really talk about Tom a lot is that he plays through injury.
Right.
He got hurt that one season, but he doesn't miss a game ever.
No, you're right.
And I think that's a certain particular breed. Then, and Garoppolo, he did have one of the highest passer ratings for one friggin' game. There's not a big enough sample size.
Right.
If you
was
can get trade bait.
1/2 against Miami.
At the end of the day, we took Matt Castle and went 12-6 or whatever, 12-4 with Matt Castle, who blows, and he got a $60 million contract from that. So I just don't believe that we're gonna fucking give up on Tom Brady after taking the team to the Super Bowl and having one loss? No. Let's ride it out.
Here's the bigger question, right? For me is, I don't think this was Tom's last year.
No.
So let's just say that next year, would be his last year. It would be worth it regardless of what happens on Sunday, it would be worth it for them to trade Jimmy G to get something to help them win one more.
Absolutely. And so Jimmy G's got 1 year left? Is that, or 2?
I think he's got 1.
And Tom has 1 year left.
If they don't restructure it, they'll probably restructure.
But what if Tom goes to the Super Bowl again next year?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so Peyton, and it's a different story with Peyton. Like, Peyton went to the Super Bowl and won, but on the back of the defense. That he was the worst quarterback in the league.
He did not. It was the worst quarterback performance I think ever.
I think Tom Brady is arguably better now than he was, 5 years ago or 10 years ago. He has more pocket presence. I heard somebody breaking down game film that he is making more accurate throws. He's making throws that he used to not make, as far as longer throws. Like, he's moving north and south in the pocket better. Like, he's just better overall. He's actually might even be a little quicker. Yeah. And the more he plays and the more experience he gets, the more he's gonna stare across the line of scrimmage at 4 fucking rookies. Like,
they're good rookies.
They're good rookies.
They're good.
But Tom is going to...
Vic Beasley.
There's no question that they're going to approach the line and Tom is going to audible into something that they've never seen before. And now you're going to think, rookie getting into a play they've never seen before in the Super Bowl. It's going to throw them off the game just a little bit. Enough where they're thinking about it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's all that Tom needs. And Tom is with the options. Like, option 1 covered, option 2 covered. Okay, we'll dump it here. Like, there's always somebody. Speaking of, so Chris Hogan the over-under for Chris Hogan is 65 yards. And the over-under for Edelman's 90. I think Edelman will be right around 90. Hogan could come in at 150, or Hogan could come in at 40. It just depends on how the game goes.
Yeah, it depends on who. With a solid linebacking core, I don't think Bennett will have that big a game. You know what I mean?
No, but I think that they're going to rely heavily on Blunt.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're going
to control the game with Blunt.
Yeah,
and I keep hearing that James White's going to be a factor.
I think it might be more Dion Lewis, but you never know. I
never know. But just the fact that we're talking about these weapons.
You forget that, or for me anyways, I forget that, Vereen had 11 catches and set a record.
Right.
In that Super Bowl. And, they were big catches, but so much stuff happened.
If you look at the past Super Bowls, okay, Kevin Falk was the screen master.
Right.
Corey Dillon,
right.
Clock killing Corey Dillon, 1,600 yards, was the toughest son of a bitch around. We always had to lean on one of those guys.
And I think, honestly, over the past couple years, don't get me wrong, Stephen Ridley, Shane Vereen, they were all right. But Blunt and James White this year, and then Lewis, when he came back, their running game is like a serious triple threat.
So
it's
absolutely
better than
not
it's
even
been
a question.
Since 2005. When it was Kevin Falk and Corey Dillon.
Dion Lewis is almost wholly unique in the league. His abilities, like his quickness and his size, and I think Blunt was hurt the majority of the year last year. Blunt had obviously his best season of his career. I mean, he was a fucking monster this year.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And the fact that they all play all out, they're all blocking, like they're not like. I don't know. I just really have a lot of confidence in this team. But speaking of offense, Ezekiel Elliott, offensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Anybody that was close, or is that pretty clear?
For rookies?
Offensive rookie of the year. Other than Dak. It was either Dak or him, right?
Yeah, honestly, the other rookie QBs didn't really make all that much of an impact.
No.
But I think Elliott
he had one of the most impressive rookie running back seasons I can remember.
Yeah. And no one takes running backs in the first round anymore outside of him, Gurley, and Gordon last year.
And Gurley just absolutely fucking...
Yeah, what a tank job.
Jesus.
But is that his fault, or is that a terrible offensive line on a terrible team that can't throw the ball?
I was never blown away by Gurley.
Yeah.
I will say that, when Adrian Peterson, when these big-time backs came in the league, we expected... I remember in the fantasy draft, none of that we want to get into a fantasy conversation, but seeing Ezekiel Elliott and being like, this guy is going, first and second, who the hell is this guy? You're going to really roll the dice on, and then he turns out to be the real deal.
Yeah, see, as far as fantasy goes, I don't think I would have taken the risk.
No.
You know,
I go
and
Antonio
kudos to
Brown.
anyone that does, but I've been burned by that shit before.
Right.
Ryan Matthews, for example, fucking Melvin Gordon last year. Gordon had a great season this year. Last year he sucked balls.
If
dude.
you have top 10 picks, it's pretty clear who the safe bets are the top 10.
Right.
And then finally Matt Ryan. From what I can tell, and these just came out, is Offensive Player of the Year and MVP of the league. I don't think I can speak objectively but at the end of the day, it sounds like you do agree with that, and I think I agree with you as well. He had a great season. The numbers speak for themselves. How many picks did he have?
Ryan. Well, he was second in total TDs behind Rodgers, and he was like third in yards. So he had 7 interceptions to 38 touchdowns. Right. That's pretty fucking good.
My thing with Tom is 2, and then with the year that he had 50, how many interceptions did he have? He didn't have 7.
I don't know. I think it might. No, it probably wasn't. It wasn't 7.
Matt Ryan has a passer rating of 120 and more in the last 6 of the last straight games. So it's 6 straight games he's thrown for over 120 passer rating. He's 5-1 this season against Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, if that means anything to you. The Falcons have scored 540 points in the 2016 season, tied for 8th most in NFL history. No team to score as many or more points in a regular season has gone to win the Super Bowl.
So, and this kind of happened when they played Pittsburgh. The Patriots are really good at taking away your best player, but with the Falcons, obviously Julio Jones is their best player. Right. Are they going to be able to contain that dude?
Well, so look at the Pittsburgh. They took out Bell. They still had Brown. Okay, so they're absolutely going to be able. They are. If the Patriots can do anything, it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's fucking Superman. They have Bill has had 2 weeks to figure out how to eliminate Julio Jones. They will eliminate Julio Jones. He'll get his yards, but I just really believe they'll shut him down. And then, people will be like, okay, well then they got Sanu and this and that. They got a laundry list of offensive weapons. It's not like the Steelers didn't have anybody other than Brown and Bell. There was Jesse James was a player, the tight end, that big white dude. And there's that other wideout they had a bunch of really solid players on that team.
But so they game plan to take out Bell. Bell gets hurt, and then fucking old legs. What's his name? The other running back there, D'Angelo Williams, comes in, and he actually looked pretty good. So it's like, with this team, with the Falcons, they have 2 very good running backs.
And to be honest, I don't know how impactful Julio Jones is. I heard an interesting stat the other day where the Falcons are 9-1 when Julio Jones has less than 100 yards receiving. When he has over 100 yards receiving, they lost like 5 games. Like they actually, when he's calling for the ball and they rely too heavily on him and they're not spreading it out, they actually play worse.
I didn't know that.
The Patriots haven't trailed in a game since week 12. What they're doing is really is just. It's unfathomable. It's almost like if you wrote it, you wouldn't believe it. Do you know the Patriots are 94-1 at Gillette Stadium since 2001 when leading at halftime?
Yeah,
94-1. Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable. They're just unfathomable. Some of these stats. The Super Bowl will feature the NFL's top scoring offense in the regular season and the top scoring defense. To me, that's a great sign for us, in the sense that history usually in the Super Bowl plays in favor of the defense, right?
Just look at that terrible 2007, Super Bowl loss the Patriots suffered. It was like that defense. See, if I was the Falcons, I would be studying those games because that was that's when they looked the worst.
Right. Yeah, but no, you got to get to Tom. At the end of the day, too, the Patriots have yet to face a quarterback who's finished in the top 10 passer rating during this season. So they're going to see something, but that doesn't mean that the Patriots won't be ready. But I agree with you in the sense that watch what Houston did. Houston gave them a fucking game. Houston is terrible. They have a terrible team.
Houston did get for the first half of that game. That was way closer than I thought it was going to be.
Merciless and Clowney owned. They owned it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Like I was not aware of Merciless. That guy's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
If you get Tom. See, Tom has the quick release, but if you get Tom, feeling pressure, that's when you can start to get them off their game.
True.
The Patriots did not even hiccup against the Steelers. They rolled them right over. It was almost too easy.
It was terrible. Honestly, outside of the Green Bay Dallas game and the first half of the Patriot-Houston game, the playoffs this year have been fucking terrible. It was atrocious. It was very bad football to watch.
Right. And I'm hopefully I will be able to post this. I've been working on talking about the Roger Goodell press conference where he spoke about how good competitive the league has been. He gave some bullshit stat about how it's been more competitive than it has ever been. It's been absolute garbage.
Yeah.
The TV ratings have reflected it. They can blame it on the election all they want. The playoffs were garbage, and this game could turn out to be garbage. I think that the Patriots defense is good, is active enough to create a couple turnovers. I don't know if the Falcons defenses can do the same. So if the Patriots can get 1 or 2 turnovers, keep the ball in Tom and Blunt's hands, control the clock, I don't see how the Atlanta can hold on. The only way they can is if they can create some sort of turnover.
Right.
Because if Tom's controlling the clock, even if the Patriots keep a 3-point lead, or even if they're down 3 points going into halftime, that's trouble for Atlanta because they can. I think that this is going to come down to the lights might be a little too bright for some of the Falcons. I mean, I don't know. It's the fucking Falcons. Like, I'm going to be devastated if the Patriots lose this game. Like, I don't know if I can emotionally equipped enough to handle it. Like, it's going to be. I mean, is there anything worse than going to the Super Bowl and losing?
No,
like as far as a fan in sports.
No, but I would be more if they hadn't won the Seattle game.
Right. So to me, the thing for me is the Deflategate and the Joe Montana argument.
Yeah.
Tom wins this one, it's over. You can't even argue. He's the greatest ever.
The problem is Deflategate, Spygate, Tuck Rule. Those things are going to end up defining him.
Right. Well, so I believe,
unfortunately, because
I believe that in 20 and 30 years, those things sort of fall by the wayside, and people remember the record. Like you remember the steel curtain, but you don't know.
Remember the steroids.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think at the end of the day, people will, realize, what exactly they did. At the end of the day, you give the fucking Bengals flat footballs all day long, they're not going to all of a sudden win the goddamn Super Bowl. It has, one has nothing to do with the other, and any intelligent person can agree with that.
No, I get what you're saying.
And as far as the Deflategate is concerned, I'm just saying, so he got the 4-game suspension. He paid his due, and then went back and won with, they probably checked the pressure on every football. So now he proved that it doesn't have anything to do with the footballs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Went back, and we'll have to have Goodell hand him the trophy. All that will be fantastic.
Do you think he
also,
will?
I think he will. I mean, I think he has to. He might. No, you know what? I've heard that he'll hand it to Kraft. That doesn't even really. To me, it's the Montana thing. These Montana yo-yos who just will not refuse to believe that, admit that Tom's better because of the loss. Those 2 losses. To me, it's an incredible achievement to make the Super Bowl.
Right.
To get there.
Alone.
So more appearances to me is whether he won or lost. Just to me it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And apparently I was too young. I didn't see these 49er games where they just so handedly beat these teams, but in the Super Bowl. But
Montana
I don't think
Brady's also played almost like 4 years more than Montana at this point.
I don't think it's even close. I think it's so clear Tom's the greatest quarterback ever. He might be the greatest football player. I think he's done more with less too. I think Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and these crazy
for multiple years.
Yeah,
Brady had Moss for 2.
Yeah. And then the
2.5 if you include the year that he left.
Right, and the year that he had Moss was the most touchdowns, 23 touchdowns to Moss, most wideout touchdowns ever,
right,
and 50 touchdowns.
Right.
He has had Gronkowski, who is maybe the most prolific red zone scorer that we've ever seen,
right.
But he doesn't get on the field enough.
Right, well, he's missed almost 20 games since 2012, so here's the thing. Do you trade Gronk?
No, I don't. Like I said before, I can't honestly speak objectively about this because I just fucking love this guy, man. I think there's too much upside. I think the Patriots never ever put out a joint statement with the family.
Yeah.
That to me was a long-term commitment. I think that the Patriots are going to invest in Tom and Gronk, and they'll do whatever they got to do to keep him. They recognize his impact and what type of game changer he is. I do not think they trade him. I hope they trade Garoppolo. I do not think they trade Gronkowski. I hope they don't. That's what I'll say. But so just to wrap up,
you don't think he's got to entertain it. If someone gives him something ridiculous, like couple first-round picks over the next couple years,
I'm sure Bill will. Especially Bill is always enticed by that sort of stuff. You got to think too, though. Bill is getting up there. Bill has always said he doesn't want to be 75 and coaching. He's in his 60s, right?
Yeah.
I think there is something to be said where Bill, I think, really, whether he admits it or not, will want to try to win without Tom eventually, because otherwise that's all he'll get is he couldn't win without Tom. So maybe he might coach a few years after Tom retires. But getting back to Gronk, Bill will let go of anyone. He doesn't have really. He's not really. He doesn't really have that closeness with any player.
Yeah.
But I do think he has that with Gronkowski. Based on what they've done. They don't go out of there. The only time they put out joint press releases with the team is if someone fucking dies.
True.
You know what I mean? That or gets a murder conviction. It's just they will do what, and I believe that they should. You got a guy who is bigger and faster, who catches does it all, and maybe. I don't know I think he's gone past the point of no return where I don't think he'll ever be able to be his 100% self because of how many surgeries he's had.
Right.
And I don't know if he'll ever be able to get through a season. It's the way he plays. He can't continue to play like that. But I also think...
so knowing that, you don't think it's a good idea to trade him?
Well, I don't know. Well, so I would like to see him... I just it's like losing KG. I would like to see him... prove to everyone that he is the greatest tight end ever.
Yeah.
He's already dwarfing all the statistics, but if he doesn't continue to play, he won't end up, overtaking that guy from the Falcons. Tony Gonzalez and what was the other tight end? I can't remember. So yeah, the other tight end being Antonio Gates. So we have the spread at 3. We have less than 24 hours to the game. Who do you have and what score?
I am going to go Patriots. And I'm going to go 28-24.
So you will have them cover.
Yeah.
Patriots were 13-3 against the spread this year. All you had to do was bet $100 a week and you would have cashed in. I think that, again, I just have a hard time believing, along with everything that we've said, that they're going to lose. So I have them at 31-24.
I thought that in 2012, though.
I know. Like I said,
2007 was a little more scary because there was so much on the line. 2012, I was like, this is the redemption story. They're going to win this.
And finishing up, if they lose, and Tom has an awful game, does that play into Jimmy G and
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Are you excited for Lady Gaga?
Is it Lady Gaga as the halftime?
Yeah.
I listen. I thought Katy Perry was great with the Seattle. I don't know.
I thought Beyonce was good too.
When the Patriots are in the Super Bowl, I am so worked up. I can't think of anything at halftime.
The best was the first was the U2.
Did you enjoy
show.
a minute of the Seattle game? I didn't enjoy. That was a painful game. I was a wreck the entire game. Like
from the point when they got the safety at the beginning, I was terrified.
It was unbelievable. It wasn't even. There was no joy in it. Like
no.
And that ball falling in Curse's lap was. Like, again? Really? It's like tough for us to say that, but really, again?
Do you think she's gonna say anything crazy about Trump?
Oh, Gaga?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked. But after the Janet Jackson thing, they're gonna be all over her.
Yeah, but she's not gonna get naked and
no.
run around and say crazy stuff. But she could say something.
There will be more people watching this game than any other television program in the history of TV. That's a good question. I don't know. I just know that she's probably aware that there's
Robert
more
Kraft?
people. Kraft won't be with them.
You don't think so?
I don't think that they're best friends. I think that they just play golf every once in a while.
You're talking about Brady. I'm talking about Kraft.
Kraft too. Yeah, I don't think that they're.
Kraft was at one of the inaugural balls.
I'll tell you what. Bill was not pleased that Trump was bringing his name up. I know that for a fact.
I don't think Brady was. I think Brady started to get sick of it because they don't like the distraction.
Right. And Trump loves to do that. And I don't blame him. If I was in New England and I could say I just got off the phone with Tom and Bill Belichick, but Bill Belichick especially does not want his name. He doesn't want at the end of the day, too, I just don't understand why people care. These guys throw balls for a living. Like, why do they have one has nothing to do with the other? Who cares what Tom Brady's political beliefs are, as long as he can throw a touchdown? I mean, if it was somebody that had an impact on policy or actual government, it might be a different story. But if Tom Brady was a fan of Hitler, it wouldn't make a difference.
I think
that's a good way to finish.
I don't know if that would be the best way to.
And as Dave Portnoy from Barstool has said a number of times, Roger Goodell is the equivalent of Hitler.
Is he?
Well, he silences the media. Well, so apparently, he didn't allow some media outlets into the Super Bowl media week. He redacted a number of things from a press conference recently regarding concussions, removing things from the whole picture.
Yeah.
Things like that is Third Reich-esque.
Third Reich-esque.
Shy of concentration camps. I also think. I mean, I was so flabbergasted by that press conference that it drove me to put together this whole piece that I'm working on because of how far he goes on. He just can't even maintain consistent lies. It's off the charts. It's off the chart. And so Grady, he's big into Trump. He really is. He believes it. And he said to me the other day, don't listen to what the media says. They're just a bunch of hippies and Jews. Direct quote. And my point is, that's what Trump wants you to think. Right. Trump is the creator of the alternate media, of the alternate news.
Of the alternate facts.
Alternative facts, right. Alternative facts, right.
No, but you're right. The alt news, alt right, the whole thing. I mean,
it's unbelievable.
When you look at Sean Spicer, looks like, you remember in Star Wars, the prequels right before the Emperor started to melt his skin? That's what Sean Spicer looks like. He has those saggy bags under his eyes where his skin is starting to fold. They just look like evil people.
Oh yeah, and
it's
and I don't even know if Trump is an evil person. I think
he's a raging narcissist.
He's definitely a narcissist. Everything he does is phenomenal. He will not admit to any faults. That can be a problem.
Who wins an election and then says that it's rigged?
Right, but to his credit, I don't agree with any policy, but he has followed through with his campaign promises, which is rare for a candidate. Who would have thought he would have instantly started doing things he was going to say he was doing? And he has. He's gotten already the wall going and all that other crap.
But there's no way he's going to get Mexico to pay for that wall.
Well, so his explanation is that they're going to pay in payments over time. They have no plans on doing it. Who knows? I will say that his cabinet appointments are deplorable. These people
terrible.
are the worst, just racist. Like, it's just unbelievable what's going on. And anybody that can sit, like, so this is my point with, about Grady, and obviously this isn't going to get aired to anyone because I don't want it, but the guy can't, how can you can't consciously defend this guy knowing the whole picture. Like, right. Grady just likes the idea of Trump. The guy who, the guy wins, and, but at the end of the day, like, this guy is, like, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, the lies, too.
See, I stepped back because I thought, maybe I was just being too much of a hater because the idea of this guy pisses me off.
Right, yeah. No, it's shameful. It's shameful.
So I was like, maybe he could do something good, and then we've only been 3 weeks into it, and this is already ridiculous.
We've already hurt our reputation worldwide in the sense of this ridiculous ban. America is a place where everyone.
There were Muslims praying at airports when they couldn't even get past the fucking front doors, for the past like 14 years. And
you got that going on. He can bold-face lie without even batting an eyelash. I don't think he has the full picture. I think sometimes he's saying things and he doesn't even know they're lies because he's uninformed. He's so uninformed. He has no problem making very drastic moves. My concern is, I have heard him prior to the candidacy speak very casually about nuclear weapons and Russia. Right. Nuclear weapons, why have them if you don't use them, is what he said.
Right.
The whole purpose of having a nuclear arsenal the size we have is to deter other countries from using it. It's not to use them. It's to show them we have them, but that's the whole purpose. And then he is very cavalier about Russia. Russia is, first of all, at the helm is an absolute lunatic who I'm sure wouldn't bat an eyelash at sending a missile our way. And the two of them can be baited with a tweet, for Christ's sakes. Like, who knows what the hell's going to happen? I don't know if he's going to make 4 years.
The Vegas odds on him getting impeached are 2-1.
Between everything that's gone on over the past few presidents, I mean, I think Obama did a great job. I know everyone didn't love him, but you got the George W. Bush, who was borderline retarded. You got Clinton with the sex scandals. You got Nixon. I've never been so ashamed.
No.
As an American
I thought it was
citizen.
I remember being in my early 20s when the whole Bush Gore thing went on, and I remember thinking that was bad, but I never had this feeling of just like sheer.
Bush was easy to make fun of, but you could still have some semblance of respect for the guy. He was a career politician.
He put good people in his cabinet.
His father was the director of CIA. Right. You knew we were going to be okay with him. Yeah. You don't know what the hell is going to happen with this guy. I mean, he has no experience in the public sector. He's never, he's only worked in privately and so he has money tied up in like 40 different countries. Are you telling me that he will put his signature on a piece of paper if it means he's going to lose $1 billion, but it's good for the country?
Right.
He's not involved in the business, but there's no way Trump does it. He's not built that way. No. And there's no way he's not involved in the business either. That might be on paper, but there's no way that the son's, he doesn't want to live in the White House. He wants to, it's like, I can't believe that he made it this far. I think he can't believe he made it this far.
I totally think that he can't. I think he would never come out and say that, but I don't think I think at some point he didn't want to win.
No, so he's very close with Howard. I listen to Howard day in and day out. I think, and Howard would say this, is that he, ran to get his brand, to earn, to build his brand.
Yeah.
But he had no intention of winning.
Right.
And I think he was flabbergasted by it. And I think that it was driven by, we just got off of a black president. And it was like the reaction to the 8 years of a black president and a very liberal 8 years. And also the fact that the Democrats, put up a horrible candidate. I mean, Hillary was not, they should have put Biden. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would have rather had Mitt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somebody with some sort of history.
No, I agree. I can't.
It's unfathomable. If you told me this 10 years ago, you can't even wrap your mind around it.
Dude, if you told me this 3 months ago,
There's
to
just
get back
no
to
way.
the point about what you were saying about Grady, though, like, I agree that. So like CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, all those places, it's all like they're built for like big tragedies. You know, like when a September 11th happens, when a Boston massacre happens, that's when they're like at their best.
Right.
You know,
that's clickbait.
Right. When that shit isn't going on, they need stuff to fill, and they sensationalize all this stuff, and people start to it becomes disingenuous, and people start to hate them for, you know, breaking news, you know, this, that, and the other thing, and then you find out and you wait after the commercial break and it's bullshit.
And Trump is a headline grabber. So Trump is, if you read the news in the past 3 months, he is part of every news cycle and every news outlet. It doesn't matter where you go, there will be an article about Trump in a 24-hour news cycle. And it's because it grabs eyeballs. I mean,
it grabs mine. I haven't paid this much attention to anything in... And
it's the pure entertainment factor.
It would be ironic if he does do this, you know, whatever, make America great again, surely by being the worst person for the fucking job.
Right. And that's what I mean. I got in
pay attention to this shit.
That's how we got in the argument. Me and Ned, that started was I sent him an article about the alternative facts and how in such a short period of time he has put out such misinformation. And I was telling him, you know, I came across it because I've read more news and read more about this man than I've any candidate for president ever. Yeah. And it's not because I support him. It's not because I'm against him. Ultimately, I want what's best for the country. I really do. I want the best, what's best for America. I really am proud to live here. I'm ashamed of what we did, but But at the end of the day, I've never been so fascinated. It's fascinating. It's utterly.
No, it is.
It's out of control. You can't write it. I can't believe. I mean, I'm in the car a lot during the day. I got NPR on. You know, every time he's doing that first press conference, I belly laughed like 4 times. It's comical.
Right.
Some of the things that comes out of this guy's mouth, it's unbelievable. He looked the guy from CNN in the face at his first press conference and said, "I'm not going to answer a question from you. You're fake news." CNN. Yeah. Told CNN they were fake news. It's like, whoa.
Right, and if you don't agree with them, you get out.
Right.
That's not the way. You can't run anything.
It comes down to two is that we're divided in the sense that the center of the country are uninformed, like really not bright people. They're just not intelligent people. I mean, you cannot possibly tell me that that's who voted for this guy. You got the coasts and the center of the country. We should be 2 different countries. We really should, because I mean, these retarded people, they want to have their weapons.
They're waiting for the coal mines to open back up and the auto industries to come back, and it's just not going to happen. No,
and what is going to happen is, you know, you can already see it. Like these markets are starting to shift a little bit because we're keeping things in America and whatever. They're going to go up a little, but everything will rebound. Every cause has a reaction. Like, there's no way. The Democrats don't do things like big government because they want to tax the hell out of everyone. They're doing it to create foundation.
Right.
We can't go completely the other way and not find consequences. Like, you're going to tell me that Trump's going to eliminate all our debt with China and everything's going to be, you know, roses and everyone's going to be happy. Like, no, that's just not going to be the case. I mean, Syria is a fucked up place. And maybe we shouldn't be allowing people from Syria to come into the country. I don't know. I mean, that's not something, you know, I don't agree with any ban, especially a Muslim ban. That's retarded. But that, you know, if we eliminated sometimes we are a little bit too open. You know, sometimes maybe we do need somebody to come in and kind of, you know, be like, hey, listen, like, we don't want another plane into a building.
We could be, but none of them came from Syria.
Right. No, I agree with that. I don't believe that a fucking wall splitting Mexico and the United States. I don't even understand why anyone would want it.
I can't believe that people are still on it.
I can't believe that was so the Mexican,
was even like a hot issue.
Mexican president was on NPR, you know, like a few months ago and it was saying, I don't know why he keeps saying we're going to pay for it. We're not, first of all. And second of all, the Mexican immigrants that come into the country, legally or illegally, are not in direct competition with American workers.
Right.
They do the jobs that we don't want to do.
Right.
They're not taking American jobs. They're doing jobs that we weren't going to do anyway.
Unemployment is at like 4.7%.
Right. It's like an all-time low.
It's not going to get any lower than that.
No.
Okay?
But it was low with Obama as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And what's going to happen here is it's going to end up going up, not even by any fault of Trump's, and he's going to lose his shit. Because there's just no way for it to go down.
I mean, is there any possibility this guy gets reelected?
No, I don't. I would be shocked if he serves out his full term. The thing that
Me
really
too.
I like, a lot of Republicans, like, I'm more Democratic, whatever, but there's some that I've liked, that seem like they at least hold true to their values.
Right.
They have all shown themselves to be spineless cowards.
Yeah.
Paul Ryan is the biggest fucking punk.
Thing is, Trump was now he doesn't, but he was calling him a spineless, piece of shit.
Right.
I will say that there's part of the Republican Party that I agree with in the sense that I do believe in like free markets and keeping the private sector private and things like that. But I also think that we have nice roads and clean water because we have government.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're not going to eliminate all of that. I just don't think that's a good. Like being labeled a Democrat or a Republican. I tend to agree more with Democrats because they actually, are human beings.
Right. They say stuff that makes the only problem with the reason why I think a lot of people don't like liberals is they get stigmatized with being the PC police.
Right.
And it's like, if you're a liberal, then you're against saying the word retard, or you're against
right. Which is just so stupid.
If you say something out of turn, then you just get shit for it automatically. You're a terrible person.
Do you know how heartbroken Gary the Retard was when he was told he couldn't be called Gary the Retard anymore?
No.
He didn't think he was part of the show anymore because he was, now he's Gary the Conqueror. They're retarded. I mean, that's a whole different, I just don't, people are so easily offended. It's unbelievable. My thing with the Republicans is the religious part and so I don't know how anyone can tell a woman what to do with her body.
Right.
I don't see how that's even an argument.
And the thing about closing down and wanting to close, the Planned Parenthood's only I think it's like 15 or 20% of it is abortions. The rest of it is just education and HPV scans and shit that people
there are
that are needed.
Religious
things.
Conservative Republicans that will honestly look you in the eye and say that if a father rapes a daughter, the daughter should have that child.
Right.
It's absurd, okay? And at the end of the day, there are times this is not. It's not even an argument. There are children that just it's not right for them to be born, and a girl should be able to do whatever she wants with her body. That's the first thing. The religious bullshit is unbelievable. Like the way that they almost want to tie government. They want to we have separation of church and state for a reason. They almost want to bring it together, and I can't.
Which is what's so unconstitutional about this ban, which is that it's not the executive order wasn't on a Muslim ban, but the idea of the entire country was people leaving to escape religious persecution.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just
the other thing is the stem cells. I mean, we could end such a tremendous amount of suffering, physical pain that you and I could not even understand.
Right.
And we don't because there are religious people out there that have some sort of problem with it. Put them in the position where they're in a wheelchair and they can't move a hair on their body, but stem cells would allow them to get up and walk. I think they would change their mind.
So the problem with those things is, and it's just like with the NRA, they're smaller groups, like the NRA is like 3 to 4 million people, but the NRA will inform all these people about what's going on about gun laws, and they will go to their congressman,
right.
congresswoman.
Oh, because they're so driven, yeah.
Right.
They want to have weapons.
But people like on our side that are like, there's not a lot of drive, because you just think it's the logical thing.
You cannot present to me an argument why any person needs to have an automatic weapon.
Even beyond that, anyone that's on the no-fly list, if you can't get on a fucking plane in this country, you shouldn't be allowed to get a gun.
I don't know why people feel this desperate need to their right to bear arms, like they need to have a gun. People feel so strongly about why do you need a gun? And okay, so and these people that have all these guns that like they'll claim that they use for hunting, they're not guns. They're guns that shoot people, not animals. Like these like handheld pistols, like and it's their God-given right to have a firearm. All it does is add violence to the streets. It puts guns in the streets. I have no desire to have a gun. You know, people will be like, you got to protect your home. Like, come on. Like, leave it in the hands of the police. Like, have you ever felt like, do you think in your entire life you're going to be in a position where you need to defend your home with a gun? Maybe
a
I'm
very rural setting, I would feel more comfortable with a gun.
I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it causes more problems than it. Like, so say you shoot him and kill him, you might run the risk of going to jail. You might run the risk of getting a murder conviction. Who knows?
I agree with you. I mean, it's not.
I do not get why people want to have these guns. It's so important to them to have these guns.
I can agree with you like on that. I can get why people. I can get why people want to keep their guns or want guns.
Especially these automatic,
that shit I don't
weapons
get. There's the assault weapons,
machine guns, automatic assault rifles. Like,
right.
Come on, that fire 75 bullets a second.
And the other big thing is it's fine if you want to have however many guns to me. I don't agree with the assault weapons, but like that's something that's going to be harder to get to change. But to me, it's not allowing for mental health checks, not allowing for, to not give people that, people that are on the FBI no-fly list, they're allowed to get guns.
See, I think it might depend on the region, and I don't want to pretend that I have any knowledge of this, but I think it would be difficult for somebody who has. I think it's difficult to get a gun in Massachusetts. I think that, I would have a hard time getting a gun unless it's a shady place.
Yeah. Yeah, in New Hampshire, it's not that hard.
You just need a license?
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's so important to people. It's not a right. I don't believe that it's a God-given right. I think it's a God-given right for a girl to do what she wants with her body. I don't think that it's a God-given right for you to have to be able to have a firearm. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'll never understand that. And okay, you can have your gun. Like, I think all it does is create problems. I don't know how long we are into this, but I appreciate you coming, and we're actually got a low battery in the laptop. I appreciate you coming and talking. And hopefully, this was actually I think this was a good one. Probably the most entertaining one I've done so far. So if you'd want to come back again, that would be, I'm sure, I'd love to have you.
Yeah, well, the pay's good.
So thank you. Until next time.
All right.